This is the problem of the week solution video for December 4th problem of the week. That is quick estimates. Let's first read through the problem and then go over example solution in Python. So the description goes as follows. Let's face it, you're not that handy. When you need to make a major home repair, you often need to hire someone to help. When they come for the first visit, they make an estimate of the cost. Here, they must be careful. If they overestimate the cost, it might scare you off, but if they underestimate the work might not be worth their time. Because the worker is so careful, it can take a long time for them to produce the estimate. But that is frustrating. When you ask for an estimate, you really are asking for the magnitude of the cost. Will this be $10 or $100 or $1,000? And that's all you really want to know on the first visit. Please help the worker make the type of estimate you desire. Write a program that, given the worker's estimate, reports just the magnitude of cost, the number of digits needed to present the estimate. And if we read closely, it's just asking us to find how long each number is, how many digits are in each number. It says here for the input that we expect, the input will begin with a line containing an integer n, which will be between 1 and 100. The next n lines each contain one estimated cost, which is an integer between 0 and 10 to the power of 100. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's enough money in the world to have that, but oh well. And we can see here in our sample inputs that we can see our number n, which is the amount of cases, and then they give us 5 inputs after that. Alright, so let's go through the code. As for the code, it is pretty short for this problem. First thing we do is take in that number of inputs, that number n. One thing to keep in mind, input in Python returns a string, so we have to immediately cast that to an integer. We'll just store this in this num_inputs variable to use for later. Next, we assign an empty list. Let's just call this answers for now. This is an empty list of solutions that we can store them and then print them out at the end sequentially. And note that for this problem, it is not necessary. You could just print out your results immediately after the user gives their input. Like this. So if we were to instead print that out immediately, and we won't need this loop at the end anymore, this would be a valid solution. Just note that if you were to submit this into Caddis, both of these solutions, the one that I showed right before and the one with these lines commented out, would be valid. However, the only difference is that this one can be much more confusing to read, especially when you're running the test cases. So let's go back to the one that we used before, and let's continue on line 8. What we do here is we iterate through the amount of inputs we're getting, and then we take the input. Notice here we do not cast to an integer because we do not need to have it other than a string. This line is kind of packed with stuff. First, we take the length of that string, which basically tells us how many digits are in that number, and then we add this to the answers list. And that's pretty much it in terms of doing stuff. After this, we just print out everything in that list, and it'll be in order, and that will be the answer to the solution. Let's try test cases. Our first test case will be 5, 314, 1, 5,926, and 5, as well as 35,897. Easter egg kind of here, that's the first 2 digits of pi. And when we run this, it should return 31415, which our program does. And our next sample test case is 3, 0, 10, and 100. And we expect this to return 1, 2, and 3, which our program does do. So that is it for this solution video. If you guys have any questions, I think Remind is the best place to ask or email. And I'll see you guys next week.